loses a close, tough fight to Terence Crawford. I don't know.
But he's gotten older. He's grown out of the division.
Who?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but so is Terence Crawford.
You can't make the weight.
But so is Terence Crawford. I picked Terence Crawford because he started 135. Floyd started 130. He turned pro. He's 130 pounds.
I mean, Max really has earned the right to an opinion. And his current opinion is that Terence Crawford is the greatest of all time. Now, I will tell you, Max is a fan. I can relate to this. I got in there and I did the sport, and there are times that there is a credibility that will come along with me for having done the sport. But I'm the same as Max. I'm a fan.
Good Crawford is, you know what I mean? Especially being, what is he, 38? Something like that, yeah, 38. So listen, to do what he done in the manner he did it, moving up 2 weights, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, one of the greatest to do it.
Max Kellerman analyzes the highly anticipated Mayweather versus Crawford fight, emphasizing the differences between their professional histories. He points out that Floyd picked his opponents deliberately in order to preserve his record, which gave him a strong resume but frequently attracted criticism. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, never shied away from a challenge. He faced whoever came up and continuously proved himself. Kellerman leans with Crawford despite Mayweather's legacy because he thinks his unafraid style.
It's wild because, like, if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time. Oh, yes. That makes a difference to people.
Max Kellerman has repeatedly questioned whether Floyd Mayweather is deserving of being at the top of the pound-for-pound rankings. Although Kellerman concedes Floyd's technical mastery, he contends that his accomplishments do not automatically qualify him as the greatest of all time. As part of his research, he highlights Terence Crawford, who has won championships in 4 separate divisions, putting him on par with Manny Patrick. Moving up weight classes and defeating champions along the way characterized Pacquiao's legacy. Kellerman also thinks Crawford follows the same route. According to him, it demonstrates that greatness is about having the courage to take chances across boundaries and face the most formidable opponents rather than about keeping an unblemished record.
No one has ever been a 4-division champion in boxing. Not a real one. Oh, Pacquiao won 8 and Oscar De La Hoya won 11 and this one won 15. No, I'm talking about Ring Magazine champ or lineal champ. You are the champion of that division. Manny Pacquiao was the first dude to really win 4. Floyd gets credit for 4 for beating Canelo, but that wasn't at the junior middleweight limit. I don't count that. I don't count that. Terence Crawford just joined Manny Pacquiao as the only legit 4-division champion in the history of boxing. And he did.
In yet another scathing assessment, Kellerman highlighted how Mayweather meticulously controlled his career to keep his perfect record. He brought up the fact that Floyd frequently selected opponents who were either past their best or less dangerous from a strategic standpoint. Mayweather was praised for his skill and incisive defensive approach early in his career. Later on, though, he gave more weight to bouts that provided more cash rewards than ones that presented a competitive challenge. This change sparked complaints that his flawless record was more of a commercial strategy than evidence of unquestionable dominance. Although Floyd was fantastic, Kellerman argues that his matchmaking tactics lessen the impact of his zero because fans preferred to see him in real danger rather than in pre-arranged mismatches.
Floyd was fighting everyone right up until the point where he started to make money. But as much credit as you get for making, the primacy of business, for making business your priority, well, that comes with trade-offs, because when you make business decisions constantly, sometimes your athletic achievements won't be regarded in the same way as if you made athletic achievements your priority. That said, Mayweather has accomplished a tremendous amount athletically. But the 3 fighters he didn't fight, Antonio Margarito, Manny Pacquiao, when he was obliterating De La Hoya, Hatton, and Cotto, and Shane Mosley when he still had something left. And while he will wind up fighting Pacquiao and Mosley, it'll both be, at the right time for Floyd. That said, what about at the right time for Floyd? He's also ancient. A fighter approaching 40, fighting at the level Mayweather is fighting, is unheard of. Mayweather, until recent times, would be considered one of the greatest older fighters of, that would be the whole story. Oh my God, can you believe how old Mayweather is? It's a little bit unfair to Floyd to say, well, you're picking these guys at the right time. Floyd is old.
Kellerman's assessment of Terence Crawford as perhaps the best pound-for-pound fighter of all time provoked criticism from certain Mayweather-loyal fans and commentators. Kellerman was criticized for elevating Crawford too quickly and for having more work to do. However, former UFC fighter Chael Sonnen supported Kellerman's freedom to express his viewpoint. Sonnen underlined that when people truly perceive excellence, both critics and admirers have the right to make audacious assertions. He clarified that Kellerman's position should be appreciated as an educated viewpoint from someone who has seen boxing change over many years rather than being written off as biased. Sonnen thus emphasized the constructive discourse in combat sports, where contrasting viewpoints feed arguments about who actually belongs. Interview number 4.
Really has earned the right to an opinion. And his current opinion is that Terence Crawford is the greatest of all time. Now, I will tell you, Max is a fan. I can relate to this. I got in there and I did the sport, and there are times that there is a credibility that will come along with me for having done the sport. But I'm the same as Max. I'm a fan. I stopped off and had a career doing it, but I started as a fan during my time in that career, and now I'm a fan. And Max was a little heavy on Canelo. Now, when I say it was a little heavy, it just surprised me as such an expert, as a guy that knows everything. I mean, Max knows the amateurs. He knows what Usyk did in the Olympic Games and the World Championships and the Golden Gloves before that, and he knows everybody else as well. I was a little surprised, if I'm being fair, at how much he thought Canelo was a great fighter. That part did surprise me. But just because Canelo has been beat doesn't mean he's not. It's interesting. Canelo's had some really hard fights, and by the way, he's had a lot of them. There's not usually a time in boxing where a guy can have anything but a 0 in his loss column, and the guy can still get over. Not only was that not the case, Canelo was valued just dollar and cents at 10 times more valuable than Crawford. Oh, by the way, Crawford is the only one that showed up with an undefeated record. And I must admit, some of those losses that Canelo had seem like the kind of thing that would really slow a guy down.
Both excitement and skepticism greeted the news that Terence Crawford had started his ascent to undisputed middleweight dominance. Crawford previously defeated Canelo Alvarez, who was thought to be the face of contemporary boxing, so he doesn't have much more to prove in terms of legacy. By beating Canelo, he destroyed the narrative that only size and strength could stop him. According to analysts, Crawford has already defeated the most powerful and marketable person in the sport, thus there is nothing more for him to achieve. Nevertheless, his desire to push himself further is evident in his quest of uncontested status at 160 pounds. If he wins, he will go into uncharted territory and solidify his reputation as a fighter who never settles for less.
Anti-climaxing for him to drop back down because you already reached the height. You already slayed the giant. And essentially that's what Terence Crawford has already done. He slayed the giant, okay? Anything else he can do is going to be anti-climaxing. Nobody else he can fight. Canelo Alvarez has 63 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Canelo Alvarez is the face, or was the face, of the sport of boxing, right? And you defeated him and outclassed him. Everybody expected you to get knocked out. It was a money grab. It wasn't realistic. And you achieved it, right? There's nothing else you can do but one thing. And as I stated, you can put your crown so high on the pedestal, it's almost impossible to reach. And I stated that becoming undisputed in another glamour division in 2 fights, because it really doesn't matter who Terence Crawford fights at this point in time. There is no name that's going to garner him the traction and attention that he got from fighting Canelo. If he fights Ron Ennis, it's not going to do it. Virgil Ortiz, not going to do it. None of those guys, anybody would put against Canelo Alvarez and say that they would beat Canelo Alvarez. So now he would be expected to beat everybody. Okay? Sebastian Fundora, the Towering Inferno, because of the size difference, he's 6'6", 80 plus inch arm reach, right? At fighting at 154 pounds, that would be attractive.
Kellerman vehemently disputes the notion that Mayweather inherently occupies that position when the conversation shifts to the best of all time. Floyd, he contends, never took the kinds of chances that make legends. Kellerman feels that greatness demands more than just offensive prowess and financial success, despite the fact that his technical brilliance is indisputable. Regardless of timing or opportunity, legends like Roberto Duran and Muhammad Ali jeopardize their legacies by competing against the best. Mayweather, in Kellerman's opinion, lacked the same spirit of fearlessness. For this reason, he challenges the notion that Floyd is the best and instead points to boxers like Crawford who consistently outperform their adversaries without concealing their business tactics.